It was a cold and rainy night in February. I got in the car with my friend Colin, as well as my friends Steve, Frank, and Chad. It was around 8 p.m. We just decided to take things chill for the night and go for a good old night drive, you know. We'd just gotten off a long week of school and wanted to relax. Chad put on some chill music and we hit the road. I was driving, Colin sat in the front seat, and Steve, Frank, and Chad sat in the back with, of course, Chad being in the middle seat.
"I say we hit up some nice real country roads, bros," suggested Chad. "Fuck yeah, man. But first, we gotta head into town so I can get my pads, G."
When Steve referred to going into town, he referred to heading into Mount Airy to go to Puffin' Stuff, the local smoke shop. Alright, I guess we can go there, I replied, and we were off. Puffin' Stuff was in our future. By the way, just a local cigar/vape shop in town, if I didn't already mention. 20 minutes later, we arrived in Mount Airy and pulled into the Puffin' Stuff parking lot. I wasn't intending on buying anything that day, so I just headed on to look around.
"Man, this shit is fucked,"
said Steve, referring to the vast array of edibles, carts, and weed pods they had.
"Man, I want the menthol pads,"
he said. "Alright, here you go, buddy. That'll be $69.99, the cashier said.
"Man, this shit's expensive."
Steve then handed the dude some cash, and the pods were his. Alright, y'all want to head on over to Timmins Road, or actually, maybe even Dollyhide Road, I suggested, and I'd been back there before. It gets pretty sketchy.
"I agree, bros. It's sketchy things are always interfering with the games. Do we really want to risk it now, bros?" "Man, Chad, you always being the biggest bitch." "I might have to agree with Chad on this one. Going into the woods isn't the best of ideas,"
said Frank. Guys, we're not actually going to be in the woods at night. We're going to be driving in the car on the road. It's fine.
"Yeah, man, it's fine,"
said Steve, and we were off yet again. Steve now had his pods and was blasting his music instead of Chad's chill jazz playlist from earlier. It was raining even harder now, and it was pitch black outside. We drove through the empty country night until we reached Dollyhide Road. It was very densely wooded, with lots of twists and turns in the hollow. Eventually, we came across a light off in the distance, a very lone light.
"Man, what a BG?"
said Steve. "I don't know, let's find out," said Colin. We pulled up to the light and realized it was a tavern. What the fuck is a tavern doing out here in the middle of nowhere, I wonder?
"I don't know, man, but it looks lit. Let's go inside. Maybe we can get drunk off some rum or something,"
said Steve. And we did that. We headed on inside. The weird thing about this tavern was that it didn't even have a parking lot. The door was located right on the road, like right on the road, no sidewalk, no nothing. It was just a 5-inch curb, and then the door. We had to park in the ditch near the tavern, and then walk up to the door. We raced through the rain and all shuffled inside.
"Good evening, boys."
Now, as soon as we heard that voice, we knew that coming inside that tavern was a huge mistake. Oh no, wait. What are you doing here? It was the creepy clerk, the same guy that we see everywhere. I had no idea how he had so many different jobs.
"Good evening, boys. I see y'all came on into the tavern now. Can I get you boys some fine, classy drinks? They're family friendly, you know." "Man, make it quick, bitch," said Steve. "Well, I'll be right out with the drinks, boys. Feel free to take a seat. I'll be up in a minute,"
the creepy clerk said. The creepy clerk then disappeared back into a sort of kitchen area to, quote-unquote, to make our drinks. Inside the tavern was very old-fashioned, but also very dirty. It had lots of medieval knight coat of arms on the walls as decoration, a taxidermied moose head, along with an old-fashioned lantern instead of lights. We went and found a seat reluctantly. However, as we were in that seat, someone else strolled into the tavern, and we knew because of the distinct sound of the bell ringing upon opening. I may be wondering who that person was now. Well, I'll tell you. I whipped my head around to see that it was no one other than Herbert Ernie himself.
"What a fine night in the tavern, eh, boys?"
said Herbert. "Herbert, what on earth are you doing here?" Colin demanded.
"Well, my buddy, the creepy clerk,
we'll take a chat. And where you boys having for dinner? And, I figured I may as well join in all.
Herbert, we never made these plans. You're not invited here. Just then, the creepy clerk came back out of the kitchen with our drinks. However, they weren't just any drinks. It wasn't alcohol like Steve was hoping, but something way, way more malicious.
I call these boys cockroach soup bowls.
The creepy clerk wasn't kidding when he said cockroach soup either. The soup he had, well, I said it was a drink, but it was more like a soup. I guess in his mind, you drink it, not use a spoon. Quite dirty. Anyway, the cockroach soup was in a horseshoe crab shell with the broth of the cockroaches. It even had the dead roaches floating around in it. Oh shit, run guys, said Colin. We did just that. However, Herbert, Ernie, and the creepy clerk caught on to our action.
Wait, just where do you boys think you're going? You still need to finish your stew.
Herbert yelled, but we didn't listen. We got back in the car and took off back down Dolly Hyde Road. However, we made a mistake. Looking back on it, we should have just turned around and gone back the way we came, back into Mount Airy. But no, instead, we continued farther down, deeper into the sticks. We thought we'd gotten away, until I glanced in my rearview mirror, and in between intervals of the back windshield wiper, I could see headlights around the corner of a tree bend. I don't know how I noticed, but it seemed, and appeared to be, the all signature 70s style Ford Ruster, the creepy clerk's signature whip. I pit my stomach formed when we saw that. Oh shit, better speed up, Colin said. The thing was, we couldn't speed up that much due to how dangerous the road conditions were because of the rain. Luckily, we were still going at a significantly faster rate than the Ford Ruster was, which I knew deep down had both the creepy clerk and Herbert Ernie both inside. All was going well for about 10 more minutes until the worst of the worst happened. We hit a dead end. What? How do those roads just dead end? Like, what's going on? Colin cried. Now, it didn't dead end at a house, a building, or anything. It just dead ended randomly for no reason at all. There was nothing we could do. The ditches were too steep, and if we tried to do a 3-point turn, we'd get stuck in the muddy ditch. Then the inevitable happened. The Ford Ruster rounded yet another corner, and before we knew it, they were bumper to bumper with us.
Yo, man, lock the doors, lock the fucking doors,
Said Steve. Believe me, he did not need to say that again. I locked the doors, and we all conked our seats back to hide. Outside, even over the rain, we could hear the doors of the Ford Ruster opening and closing, as both the creepy clerk and Herbert Ernie stepped outside.
I know you boys are in there.
We could hear Herbert say. We turned off all our lights, and now it was pitch black. Even the Herbert and the creepy clerk, they didn't have any lights aside from the headlights of the Ford Ruster, that was. It's very creepy, you know. We looked up at the windows and could see the chubby silhouettes of both the creepy clerk and Herbert peering in through our windows. The creepy clerk was peering in on Colin's passenger side window, and Herbert was peering in through my window. He had his hands pressed against the glass, and even though you could only see his shadowy silhouette, you could tell his nose was in a pig snout motion as he pressed against the glass.
You boys can't head forever,
He said.
Come on, boys. If you let us in the car now, we can have a fun time, you know? Special boys is always a good time,
He said. Just then, we were saved. We could see the red and blue lights of flashing police cars approaching in the distance. Just then, Herbert and the creepy clerk were arrested and taken away. Now, I'm not exactly sure why they were arrested, but I talked to one of the officers, and he told me that both Herbert and the creepy clerk had been luring many innocent passerbyers into their tavern, quote-unquote. Apparently, the tavern wasn't even legalized to be operating as a business in the first place. It was just some random creepy shack in the middle of the woods that they claimed to be the tavern. Anyway, we all went home traumatized. I dropped off my friends and went to bed early that night. That thing concludes the Tavern of Tanny.